legal path into the United States. If you're a high-wage worker who has like a advanced degree or whatever, you can get in through this door, though that's a nightmare in and of itself. You can get sponsored by family who are here legally. You can play the lottery, where less than 1% of those apply get status. And then there's the asylum refugee door for those fleeing danger or persecution. What a government that oversees an economy that is reliant on migrant labor might do is make a fifth door, a door for low-wage workers who do all of these vital jobs that we all rely on. But there is no door. There's no door for construction workers, farm workers, restaurant workers, hotel cleaners.
Most Americans think that if you're a good person who's been following the law relatively well, paying your taxes, and contributing to the community, can just simply apply for citizenship.
No, that is not how it works.
The lawful pathways to come to this country have never really been able to satisfy the demand for workers. And so there are workarounds for that.
So today we have this huge population of people, over 10 million, who are in limbo. They've lived here for a long time, they work here, they fulfill important jobs. They're only about, again, 3 to 4% of the population. And by the end of like the 90s, remember that chart that showed like how reliant our food system is on this labor? Instead of focusing on like mass deportation and trying to kick everyone out, there was actually some political appetite to give these people a pathway to be here legally, a recognition that we need them. Let's let them not live in the shadows anymore. George Bush was our guy on this.
Every immigrant, by embracing these ideals, makes our country more, not less, American.
George Bush was in the middle of sort of negotiating sort of a new comprehensive immigration reform that would have legalized a lot of the undocumented immigrants at the time, greater pathways for labor migration.
It was looking very hopeful for these 10 plus million people in limbo, but then something happened.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
All of a sudden, it became impossible to talk about immigration without thinking about security issues.
It's now my privilege to sign the Homeland Security Act of 2002.
The 19 men who carried out 9/11 were in the United States legally. And so now there was a microscope on how the immigration system let this happen because it was so insecure. All of Bush's efforts towards make America more American, all of that took a massive U-turn.
And so there's this language of criminality that gets attached to immigration and especially undocumented immigration.
Congress creates this new department, it's Homeland Security. They get rid of this benign-sounding Immigration Naturalization Service, and in its place, Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The country was reeling after 9/11, and a more militarized, security-focused version of immigration, border protection, was one of the ways we felt more safe. When we decided to cover this story about immigration, I reached out to all of you to ask what angles you're most curious about. What do you feel like you're not getting from the news? And I heard a lot of you tell me that you feel overwhelmed, confused, even sort of anxiety induced by the news, by your news feed. I feel that too in today's news cycle. This is why my team and I have been working on creating a new space to interact with these topics that is more about understanding and dialogue than it is about the kind of attention-grabbing, anxiety-inducing nature of our current media. This is what New Press is. Our main goal is to make our reporting more transparent and to make your experience consuming our journalism more empowering, more focused on understanding and less focused on fear and sensationalism. Help us change the way journalism is done and consumed. That's kind of the goal. And thanks to everyone who contributed your thoughts and questions to this story to make it better. All right, it's after 9/11. What happens next? So ICE is created after 9/11, and this is when we start to expand the use of detention centers, like immigration jails. Wait, but I thought ICE just deported people. If someone is found to be here illegally, unauthorized, why not just deport them? And the answer is the US Constitution. The Fifth Amendment, which says that every person here is entitled to due process of the law. Every person, not every citizen. Every person gets a trial. They get their day in court to represent themselves, and we got to abide by it. It's the rule of law here in the United States. Though that's kind of being stress tested at the moment, as we will see in a minute. Anyway, my point is that detention centers are, in many cases, where migrants awaiting their hearing